right, here we are with Fellowship, The Deeps, Season 1, episode, the outro of Season 1. This is the outro episode to Season 1. It's October 2019. Like, we literally just said to you in the intro that we're going to be here in 5 seconds, and here we are. So... say your name, goddammit you.
Introduce
I'm
yourself.
Tyler. I was playing the Overlord. And to my left, we have X playing why.
Peter, who played June Alderon, the heir.
Mark playing Prover Iceclaw, the dwarf.
Devin as Goblin King, the orc.
Nicole is Marilla the Rain.
So I'm going to start off with, I think, my biggest letdown about the whole thing. And that's, I feel like there wasn't enough stuff for the ship to do. I feel like the ship as a concept is really cool, but there were no real set pieces that challenged the ship. I made one up that I think worked pretty well.
Which one was that?
The one that I soloed.
Yeah,
Which one was
where
that?
there was like the
barrage.
hurricane and
Yeah.
all.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You
That
know,
was
you
good.
went out in like the suit and you
Yeah.
got struck by lightning.
I thought that was a set piece in the book.
No,
just
I made
took it
that
off.
up. I
That's-
made that
Pretty
up.
great.
Yeah, that was a solid
Yeah.
set piece.
So
Like, I legit thought that was a book set piece.
yeah, and I thought it was fun, but I would have appreciated more like from the books. And even after the Inverse Fellowship book came out, I was expecting to see more ship stuff in there, which I didn't really see.
Yeah, I'm going to agree on that because, and generally when we make these critiques, I say, well, there's enough examples for you to kind of do your own thing. The book kind of expects that. You can't expect everything to be kind of laid out. But the ship, you explicitly need more examples laid out. Like, if there were more ship-based, you know, like using engine or hull, even if it wasn't specific for the ship, like, oh, you could use, like, you know, damage a player stat, or if you're using the ship playbook, try it like this. Like, even that kind of advice would probably be invaluable to building those types of set pieces.
Yeah.
was like-
So I ended up feeling like there was no real reason to level the ship because nothing really challenged it or engaged with it.
I mean, one of the things was that once we kind of got to the point where we had our sub-character classes, we were kind of engaging entire ships by our lonesome. And maybe in a fellowship game where the characters are a little bit less, like, you know, like the narrative is dialed back a little bit on how ridiculous the characters are, that would have been much more, we would have been more invested in keeping the ship as, like, where we're not all flying around.
Well, in early sessions, it was tripping us up because sea life would be attacking us and messing with our hull and stuff.
Yeah.
And that stopped as soon as I took Beastmaster.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
like, this was a game for ships. It was the entire goddamn ocean we were on. So, you know, storms, marine wildlife, other ships, piracy, those sort of threats we dealt with in the early game, and then we quickly outgrew. Which is a problem because the ship's its own entire goddamn playbook. So you shouldn't really be really outgrowing stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that the ship was really a large playbook that requires a lot of attention put to it, and I don't think we really focus on it all that much, because, like, I think we've looked through the 3 iterations of the ship. I think when we started the game, we were looking at the first preview, that was really simpler. Then by the time we started the game, it was the second preview, which was, like, really built up a lot more.
A lot of moving parts.
Yeah, definitely there was like a lot bigger than the first playbook. That was pretty much like a character playbook. This one was bigger, had more stuff. We had to put like 10 people into the various slots of various roles to do stuff, and it was a bit overwhelming, I guess, for a game.
You know what? I think, ironically, the ship, because I'm thinking about the ship playbook and how it's written,
Yeah.
we would have gotten a lot more mileage out of it if it was an RV. Like, the ship playbook can have water options, but water options basically mean you can go wherever you want. That isn't land. Like, it's just a straight line.
Yeah.
Like, sure, you can get choppy waves and sea monsters, but if this was like an RV or like a tank or like that Death Clock hotel they have that's on wheels going across the land, well, then you have like deep rivers that you have to go around. You have wildlife like T-Rexes and rhinos and stuff. You have enemy forces that are like people on foot who are like setting depth charges or blowing up bridges for you and stuff, or like, you know, they're trying to get inside the ship and board you and fight you.
Or just, like,
You got bad weather, you got
border
mud.
patrols and stuff.
You got border patrols. You can't be stealthy on land in something like that because it makes a lot of noise and leaves tracks, which don't happen in water. I think what actually got us with the ship playbook was using it as a boat.
Yeah.
Like, if it was a tunneler, then all those things I just said for land, but doubled because now you have a ceiling and you can be crushed and suffocated.
But with the tunneler, you can collapse the thing behind you, I think. So, like what are the...
Yeah, but you could also drill into a geode full of crystal dragons that fight.
I think the problem is that there are stats for the ship, but there are no stats for things that oppose the ship.
I mean...
Well, you're supposed to just throw any stat against that. Really. Like, a bunch of dolphins can easily wreck the propeller by putting, like, gum into it and stuff.
Yeah, I guess, like, part of the fellowship is built upon, like, that sometimes you might have threats that you cannot face as a single small character. Like, a little squire cannot take on an army, cannot possibly harm it even if you can roll it. So similarly, you could have some threats that can only be opposed by a ship because you need ship-sized cannons.
Well, yeah, like I guarantee you, like a bunch of those ship weapons have area or dangerous on them because they're missile batteries. Like you would be using the ship to attack groups of ships in fleets and flotillas.
Yeah, so I guess.
And we just never got around to it.
Yeah, because we built our ship to be more like for like engines, hull, and then cannons. So we like had nothing.
I did set up a fleet battle for you guys, and then you completely circumvented it.
Yeah.
By
It didn't seem the one.
swimming in
I mean,
whales under the water.
The one you
in.
you set up,
Which I mean was great. Like it was fine. It was a cunning use of your resources.
To be fair, the challenge, like the way it was set up to me, looked like a situation in which putting the ship into directly in was not a very like.
Yeah, it wasn't that well figured out. I think you're talking about the ship above an island setup, right? Where it's like, oh, there's a flotilla of other ships there. Like, okay, that's too much for our dinky little boat. Because I guess
we
was
definitely didn't have the firepower to even start.
Yeah, it didn't seem to be that well tailored enough. So like, it could be like, hey, you get attacked by some ships as you're throwing thing. Okay, well then. Either we try to run away or something like that. So.
Yeah, a land crawler would not have that. Would have to meet that challenge though, because like, you know, you could throw other land crawlers at us. That's the common one-for-one comparison to the flotilla fight in our boat, right? But we can get out of the crawler and like fight men on land and stuff, and like we could also like try to like, you know, fire at armies and like fire at cliff faces to knock them over. The problem with the ocean is a big empty map.
Yeah.
There's nothing in the ocean for us to take advantage of with our guns. What would we shoot at other than other ships? The water?
Yeah. So what, would you prefer to use the airship and be in the three-dimensional?
Oh, I'd be so pissed off if we had the airship. This came up in-game, listeners, where we were talking about taking a second alt mode and someone was saying flight. I voiced how pissed off I'd be if we hadn't taken flight. Because it would obviate the entire point of the game of us being nautical, like seafaring heroes.
I kind of wanted submarine at one point, but that wasn't in that.
Yeah.
I'm almost certain you can just say submarine and like just take the driller. The driller is the submarine.
Also, I mean, we got submarines.
Yeah.
No,
But if we had a submarine for the ship, then we go into the water and there might be like things that aren't beasts down there, like magic crabs that are fighting us, like the Makra from Doctor Who, or like ancient battle machines, or like having to go around old crumbling.
So I guess if our ship was like a Nautilus submarine, where like we're exploring under the sea on the bottom of the thing.
10,000 leagues, baby.
Yeah.
Giant brass leviathans. But yeah, I don't think the problem with the ship playbook is necessarily the ship playbook. I think it's that water is fucking boring.
Yeah.
No one should drink it.
I think you could, maybe it could have been like, there are ways to do it, but we never really...
Yeah.
We were all kind of busy doing the thing, stopping the thing.
That's another aspect that the ship playbook does have a lot going on, because it's very customizable. There's a lot of options. I don't think you'd ever get the same ship twice with people playing Fellowship, which is good. But it's a lot of moving parts when you're already playing a game that puts you under the gun.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it.
But that might just be how we play it. Like maybe other Fellowship groups aren't quite as... I don't want to say rushed, but they aren't quite as focused.
Yeah, for us, it seemed that the whole ship was an afterthought to the point like, hey, this ship has like 2 level ups waiting for us.
Yeah.
So So it turned into a floating magic meeting room for us, really.
Pretty much. If I were to run Fellowship, like I'm thinking of doing it now that Inverse is out and we've had a second game of it, I would definitely include the ship and just... I have ideas on how to utilize it. Every time we run Fellowship, we iterate.
I'd love for you to run Spelljammer, by the way.
Spelljammer's a good idea. I had an idea for just like land-based.
Because
Non-water-based in the ship.
probably like the ship in combination with the Horizon would be interesting. Like, oh, it's all about travel, it's all about stuff.
You could also do like cheesy, like pulp science fiction, you know, like the whole like 70s bullshit
Yeah, have
stuff.
it be an actual like bubble cockpit RV.
I think
Or
Yeah,
Transformers, that would be something.
one of the other
Yeah, that was an idea too I had for the next Fellowship game that was the Horizon. You would have an Autobot vessel that was the ship, and the Horizon would be different parts of the Milky Way.
So, Tyler.
one of the other kind of issues I had is that I really like Fellowship. I like it as a system. It's really fun to play. But I found that it really hit a hard limit on eventually you just hit a power level at which point the game becomes irrelevant.
Yeah.
Like, you guys escalated to a point where it was impossible for me to challenge you.
I think that's because it was so battle focused.
Okay, I like how I see it. This game of Fellowship was really combat focused, and Fellowship itself isn't a game that's combat focused. So maybe trying to
The stakes were always we destroy them or they destroy us.
I mean, okay,
And
so
then
We did a lot of fucking talking.
Yeah,
we did.
I really tried to take
Yeah.
it away from combat at multiple points, but
And those were the most successful ones, like Marilla's village being attacked.
yeah, but you still have to have it at some point.
Yeah.
Can I just sort of make like an observation? One of the things, and this really new to the system. You've got the core kind of like mechanic for resolving problems in combat seems to be roll courage to get a unless you're an orc.
I know what you're gonna say here too. I remember this.
Yeah,
And I have a counter.
keep them busy.
keep them busy
To get advantage.
and then finish them. Actually, maybe not, but like what I think is
Get advantage, roll finish them. Is what
Yeah.
I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But the thing is, there's nothing like sort of like that sort of describes what is a good way to hit a resolution for the non-combat aspects.
It does, because
Literally finish them can be used with grace to talk to them.
That's
down
how I
and
recruited
make
so many
bonds
people.
with them and stuff.
No, I get that, but like I mean like the non-combat aspect of it, like the actual abilities for sense and wisdom when you're
So you're
trying
talking
to
about
find
speak
things out.
softly and look closely and whatnot?
Yeah.
All right. So
Talk sense.
I had remembered reading you talking about this earlier, and I'd actually in my mind prompted like not a rebuttal, but like just a response. So there isn't a core combat loop in Fellowship. Like advantage, finish them. That's
A conflict.
just the game itself. All things are advantage, finish them. And you don't just get advantage by keep them busy. Like keep them busy isn't the advantage generator. All the moves generate advantage. They just don't explicitly say it. It's just how advantage works.
Because
Advantage is rewarded by grabbing fictional position. I don't know what you're doing with your eyelid. It looks like you're rolling your eyes, but it looks like you're just cleaning
Yeah.
it. I don't know, man. It's freaking me out.
So sorry.
It looks like you're just going, oh, this asshole.
Yeah.
In like ultra.
So,
So that's kind of the thing. Like any one of those moves, when employed in a more sort of like, not diplomatic, but a more exchangey way, can generate the advantage you need to finish them and make them see reason and join your side, or make them run, or make them cower, or
Because,
make them frustrated.
in the first edition of Fellowship, you only got advantage from keep them busy or look closely, and that was more than well. The second edition fixed that. So, as I said, like you could have a whole set piece showdown that's all about a debate or whatever, where we don't change blows. You're just like, oh, I start persuading, attacking sense to them to gain advantage, then I finish them with wisdom to see my reason, so on, so on.
Like Phoenix Wright, like you know how the
Yeah.
Phoenix Wright thing
Yeah.
works? That's Fellowship. That is constantly going back and forth and building advantage and trying to finish and take down parts of the set piece until it falls apart and you win. You
Yeah.
could rewrite the Kraken set piece, which we start every Fellowship game with. It seems to be the tradition now. You could rewrite the Kraken attack to be like a social situation.
So theoretically in the game, if you did use like sense 2 to like notice something because of advantage, that would be
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
All of the moves, and you don't even have to use the moves. You can just roll like, hey, like this was suggested when we were trying to stealth with Marilla. And it's like, how would we stealth? Like someone later on we were talking about because we couldn't figure out what move to use. Like, well, don't use a fucking move. Just roll with grace.
Yeah.
Well, roll with grace. It doesn't have to be a move. The moves just the moves trigger when that specific scenario comes out. But if you don't know what you're rolling, be like, use your grace stat.
Or there was a situation where you were finishing something and you just had advantage because you were airborne. And you were attacking from above. And you didn't need to like do a keep them busy. You didn't need to like roll anything for it. You just had advantage.
And that advantage wouldn't even generate for the flight if, like, say, this was a debate. Because no amount of flying is going to give yourself the moral high ground.
I have the power of 1,000 suns.
Right?
So, but yeah, definitely like I think that may be a little bit missing for the fellowship books. Like what are the beats of a session? What are how do you do?
You know, the
stuff?
second edition has an actual like thing in the back that explains the beats of them.
Oh, neat.
Yeah. There's like a whole FAQ at the back that the creator put in to talk about like common problems people run up against and common ways you should be handling them and kind of just what the flow is like.
Like even now after like 20 sessions of fellowship, we just learned that how hope works.
Yeah.
Because it's vaguely worded and what have you.
I don't know. I
don't
was
know.
I was
Tyler knew how it
arguing
worked.
for that
Well,
interpretation from the start.
yeah.
From like Transformers, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, Tyler figured it out. We just did because sometimes we're sloppy like that. I'm not gonna hold that against Fellowship.
I just assumed that it was something that you're supposed to have, like, a lot.
Well, I mean, when you roll with hope all the time, it's
Yeah,
but
it's
you,
so
you never
good.
fail.
Yeah, I thought it was more
Yeah.
that it punishes you for being separate, not that it rewards you for being together.
Oh no,
That's
you roll
fine.
with despair if you're working together and don't have bonds.
Yeah.
Which is
But
3d6
then-
drop, only keep the lowest dice.
But then neither of you could have bonds with each other, which is kind of hard to do because you're constantly making bonds.
Yeah, I feel like we didn't exploit bonds enough.
Yeah, we didn't really do that in this
It's
game
kinda
that
like-
much.
Hard to find the balance. Like how often you should be making bonds? How do you breaks when the fellowship has like 3 bonds with everybody else? Like okay, how do you address that? Whatever.
Yeah,
Also-
I think the main thing that keeps tripping us up from forging bonds is we fucking record it in a Google Doc.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of overhead to like quick like if we had character sheets in front of us, I'd just be like Bond, Marilla, and like write out a quick couple of words and be like, boom, that's it.
Yeah.
But like with the Google Doc, I have to go to the tab. I gotta type it up, spell check it. I gotta make sure it's formatted. And
Yeah,
and
and
it's
I
on a
think-
Google Doc.
Sometimes we just forget to write them down. Like I tried to push to have NPCs interact with you guys, and like there were times where like
We
Seaweed
clearly
would like do a
forced
scene
bonds.
with you, or Adilla would like do a scene with you, and it would happen, and you guys would do stuff together, but we just didn't record a bond. For
Yeah, it didn't occur to me to do that.
It's,
But it was also
Then again, it's probably okay that we did because if it came up again, it's like, oh, how many bonds do you have? And it's like, well, we had that whole scene, and you just say, well, was probably a bond, we just didn't write it down.
Yeah.
The game's very forgiving about that.
Like,
when it comes to with other PCs though, it's like I already have like 3 with everybody. I don't need any more. Like
I don't want any more.
I'm not gonna just keep going back and
Awful.
redoing them unless
Yeah.
like they
I guess
become
we should play the
invalid.
Squire so we can start burning them for fun and profit.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
God,
we-
Squire's good.
Yeah, Square's really. Coming back to combat, because I remember Tyler, you had one observation about combat. If you're high in blood, you're pretty much ace in combat because if someone tries to catch you, you overcome, and then you can just finish them with blood to kill them, and that's your
Yup.
entire combat loop.
Yup. If you're a goblin, you don't even have to get advantage. If you're an orc,
Yeah, dwarves have got the other dwarf thing has a move like that too, where it's like if someone comes after you directly, you can just wreck them.
Yeah.
that orc thing isn't an option. It's the default thing all orcs get. Y'all get fucked. Blood in that is strong. And if you do something like orc boss, it's a nightmare.
And I was really disappointed with the Titans. Because, yeah, they're supposed to be, like, big and powerful, but solitary and not in groups. But anytime you guys faced them, you were able to just
I mean,
take
I
them out
remember-
instantly.
we had a discussion at Dragon's Rostrum as well, where someone saying, "Oh, Titans aren't bad because you're not supposed to have an army of Titans because they're not that big." Again, I think that comes down to fellowship is fiction first. If you have something that's 10 feet tall, a little squire shouldn't be poking it and doing damage to it because it doesn't
can't get
have
to
the
the
means
weak
to
points.
it. But it's not really conveyed mechanically anywhere because it's supposed to be up to interpretation of like, can you damage it? You know, so I guess it'll be more of the GM calling, okay, you're attacking with your bow. It deflects, does nothing, you don't even roll.
Yeah,
because-
but I mean, like that doesn't feel fun to
Yeah.
me. To
Yeah.
like have a player be like, okay, I'm gonna like fight this thing, and me be like, nope, you
Yeah.
can't.
It's what do you call it? It's a balancing act you gotta play. Definitely.
I guess it still comes down to like the most fun army of the Overlord is the organization.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, the
It's
organization
very
is
flavorful.
The organization is very good.
Inverse Fellowship doubled the number of organization options, and you get them all when you pick the orc.
Yeah.
So if I did Tarantulas again, he would have double the amount of goons.
Yeah. Well, again, because this option is so much better, flavorful than all the other ones, if you pick anything else, your game is sort of suffering from it a little bit.
That's fine. Not everyone wants to make 50 unique NPCs that they only get one of. Sometimes you just want 30 to 50 feral warriors.
Yeah. But then, you know, you kind of like engage as much as like, hey, okay, this army that's a bloodthirsty is going to attack and just going to murder people.
Yeah, but some people, when they're in the Overlord, they don't want to do a bunch of organization. You know, it's a huge mental overhead.
Yeah.
Like, even with the ones I had with Tarantulas, I had to keep flipping through this list, and I had to format it, and it was this whole thing. It was a lot of work, actually. And then I had to remember their personalities and their goals and objectives, and if the Overlord liked them or not. It was this whole thing.
Yeah. I guess another thing about how we deal with combat, I didn't like how we got so many cuts. And I think also the combat flowed a bit differently than we did last time, and maybe it was a little bit worse for it because when we run it in Transformers, I think we followed the other was like, you do stuff, when you fail, the cut's coming your way, and then we shift over to someone else. Over here, it was more like, okay, this happened, how do you react, how do you react? It kept switching over, and sometimes like, oh, okay, what are you doing? The new cut's coming, and I'm like, oh, well, like me and Poover have to dodge 3 cuts in a row because it kept coming back to us with a new cut. So it didn't feel all that great, but again,
It definitely was actually two sides of a spectrum. Because when I was doing the Overlord cuts, I was like, I'll wait for them to roll low, like the book says, and then I'll serve up a cut. Didn't really happen a lot. So you guys were always kind of topped up for resources.
so
And on the other end, you just ground us down in that early game, which is essential.
I guess, you know, since we won't have that hope for everything, that might balance it out. And
Assholes might fail once in a
Yeah,
while.
that would really
Yeah.
change the dynamic.
It's a balancing act. You don't want to be too permissive, and I use permissive loosely. You don't want to be too
Dickish.
Hardcore.
Restrictive?
restrictive. Yeah, that'd be the nice neutral word for it. Because like if it's too open, Peter and I are we're gonna sniff around for every exploit weakness
Yeah.
possible. By our nature, we'll just do it,
Yeah.
and we won't even mean to like ruin things or make things unfun or take away the point of it.
Yeah.
But it's just where we lean towards. But if you go the other way and you're like, oh yeah, you're the squire with a bow. Well, your bow can't hurt the giant ever. Go fuck yourself. It's like, well, that's not super.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, maybe he's like, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up this tree and like, you know, get kind of middle distance and try to shoot the socket where their power core is. It's like, hey, that's good.
Like, I have an idea for a next Fellowship game I want to do for Exalted, where if you'd muddy the water, so there would be clear cut of like who's on good side, who's on bad side, then combat would be more about engaging with people like, oh, there are some writers, and then there's police, and there's some people agitating both sides. Okay, who do you want to take out? It'll have consequences either way.
Yeah.
So-
I think where Fellowship really shines is in the set pieces. And I think what you're
Yeah.
describing there would like be
The right.
a set piece that you would devise.
Yeah.
And I think it's a shame that there's not more of them. And I know that the creators talked about how he'd love to make more of them, but they're so hard to come up with.
Well, there's Fellowship, there's Inverse Fellowship, Fellowship and Rebellion, and the fourth book coming out is
Generous
a
Fellowship.
Generous Fellowship, which will be packed with NPCs and set pieces, and I think any of the playbooks that didn't make it into the first 3 books.
Yeah.
So in a bit time, we should have a panoply. We'll have 3 more books with set pieces: Inverse, Generous, and Rebellion alongside the core book.
I hope this gets released as a package thing because I might want to buy a soft
For the
physical copy at some point.
Kickstarter, for the Kickstarter, I got the full physical tier, so I get all 4 books in my little link.
Cool.
Not anytime soon. When they're
Eventually.
done, like a year or 2.
But the set pieces are also where you can engage in things in like a kind of like non-combat-y kind of way.
Yeah. Set pieces are great. Good thing we learned they can't be finished.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's not a thing.
Oops.
That first, just
The
throw
centipede.
my fucking yo-yo at it.
Well, but then again, do they want to engage with it all that much?
But you're right. Not only are set pieces crucial, you need to have set pieces, and you need to have either not 2 entire set pieces, but a set piece and then like another objective inside of it, so they're both pulling you in 2 directions.
Yeah.
I think what we're refining to is we're not trying to overload. We're not trying to let the players get by easy by like just never spending resources, and we don't want to overload with an endless amount of cuts and monsters. The real sweet spot where the game sings is throwing like 1 or 2 combined set pieces and be like, hey, you want to do this objective, but there's 2 different ways to do it, and they're both very weird. And you got to be creative and deal with it. And there's a ticking clock. Hey, the Overlord's general's right here and he's doing stuff, but you can't get to him because he has goons with them. And on top of that, this set piece is happening, and it's putting other people at risk. Now you got 4 different things you got to worry about.
Yeah, I also think that if you had one player playing the Nemesis, that might also balance the party a lot more because then you can like dial things in a little bit more. Especially if they'd be like running parallel to everybody else, and not just like, oh, I'm with the Overlord or I'm with the Fellowship.
Oh
but
my
like,
God.
if you have them doing something else that could cut both ways.
You could run Goro Majima as the Nemesis.
Who?
In Yakuza, there's a character called Goro Majima, and he's obsessed with the main character for various reasons.
Uh-huh.
So there's this mechanic called Majima Everywhere, where you'll be walking down the streets of Kamchuro, and there'll be like a giant traffic cone, which giant traffic cones exist, and you'll get close to it, and he'll flip over, and it'll be him, and he'll have a knife, and you'll be in a fight with him now. Or you'll go by a trunk to check car trunks for goods. Every once in a while the trunk will flip up, and it's him!
I mean,
The
that's...
Nemesis shows up on scene!
Well, that sounds like, some sort of threat slash... I think Overlord has one of the advances called Team Rocket, where they always show up.
Yeah.
No, Goro's like a full-on character on his own. Like, he's a full-ass, like, fleshed-out
No,
character. on his own
I'd
backstory.
argue that Team Rocket is a character.
Because-
They're the team playbook into a...
Because like the...
No, like Team Rocket's a thing the Overlord has.
Yeah.
It's a move you can take where you have goons that always come back, never die,
Okay.
and the Fellowship, they can forge bonds with them, but you can burn them at any time, because go fuck you. Go fuck yourself. You're never
Oh,
gonna
I backstab you! Oh no!
Yeah, no, Majima would be the Nemesis playbook because he teams up with Kiryu when their interests align and he like gets back on the right track.
So hopefully with our Exalted thing, we'll see how that goes.
I mean, I'll play the Nemesis playbook.
Devon, I already booked it. For your game. You're GMing that.
Someone's gonna run Fellowship, and I'm gonna play Goro Majima.
What game?
Nemesis. What?
Tarnished Gold.
Stroke.
So.
That Exalted Fellowship game, we're still ironing out the kinks.
Yeah. And also, anyone who has a chance, go play Yakuza 0.
And Yakuza 1 Remake and Yakuza 2 Remake.
They're all pretty good, but I think
So, I guess let's...
I mean, they'll know. By the time this comes out, the Magic the Gathering that takes place in Ravnica game, where we all play cops for the Ravnica guilds, and I just played Kazuma Kiryu. I even had buffet skills. That game will be out by then.
So, maybe let's talk about our characters
Yeah.
and stuff.
I think this stuff about Fellowship is pretty good, though. Like, all these things, none of them are deal breakers, none of them are super bad, and most of them can be fixed with us. Like, we can fix these problems.
We're still
No,
learning.
I mean,
Yes.
like we've put out a lot of criticism, but I think we all really enjoy the system.
Yeah.
yeah, it's good.
I mean, it's
solid.
definitely a little better than all the other Powered Apocalypse I think we played thus far. Like,
Yeah, I'd give it to it. Like, I like Broken Worlds, and I enjoyed The Veil, but Fellowship has it sings.
because we've been complaining about, get advantage, finish them, versus in other Powered Apocalypse, I reach heavens for violence, I finish them. So at least there's more stuff.
I honestly think like those issues are all and Legacy 2. Like those issues all show up consistently through these games. I think it's us. Like, I think it's us doing that. Like we buy into that loop without exploring the fiction around the loop, and that's what's causing us grief.
Maybe.
I don't know if I can run another Fellowship game, not the Exalted one, just like a Fellowship game, and then see if I can kind of try to avoid those things, and the game actually works without being like that kind of loop. I'd be comfortable saying that it's us, not the game, and not even in a malevolent way. It's just
Actually, it's
we
kind of
have a very specific way we play games, and I think we're rubbing up against that part of Powered by the Apocalypse. We still haven't worked it out in our heads.
Yeah.
It took us a while to get Powered by the Apocalypse. It did.
It's
It took us
funny. There's actually one Powered by the Apocalypse game I actually experienced from beforehand that kind of
Was it Worldwide Wrestling Federation?
Yes, that was what I was going to mention. And yeah, I mean, in that one, the advantage is that you already know who's going to win beforehand because it's been decided by creative, and then the match ends at some point. And that one is explicitly so it really is the journey to get there. Like you've got to build a good match out of it.
Exactly. So
Characters.
yeah, Fellowship in a whole, I think still holds up. Still super psyched about it. I still want to play it more. Like, we just did 2 campaigns almost back to back. We did actually, didn't we? Like we did Transformers. Did we play anything in between Transformers and this?
Yes, we did Sprawl, Legacy.
We
We
Hummingbird.
kind of, we dipped our toes in.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like the Drinking Bird. We Drinking Bird dipped into kind of each of them just to try them.
Yeah. Characters.
Yeah. All right.
I want my character to be a little bit more pacifistic / not kill everything like in the previous ones, and that didn't pan out all that great in the game, unfortunately.
You were a real wiener.
Yeah, I mean, my character is specific for 1v1 and non-command encounters, and since this game features a lot of let's fight these guys that are constructs and don't want to talk to you, like, well, that didn't pan out, unfortunately, but that's partly on me. Plus, yeah, like, the Air is an interesting playbook, again, if you want to be social, if you want to do that stuff. But also suffers from the problem of like being able to just steamroll through everything, like, hey, I don't need to talk sense to anyone here, they're below me, so therefore I mitigate all of these problems. I go directly to the person in charge and so on.
Also, at any time the Overlord showed up, your character was a terrifying freaking weapon of ultimate destruction.
Well, yeah, we didn't, I guess, feel how powerful he was in the first encounter with the Overlord. Because, you know, being able to read the stats is quite powerful.
Oh my god!
Oh
Mike.
yeah, the
Let's talk about
Overlord
that.
just got smacked.
Let's fucking talk about
we could have
No
finished this,
respect for the Boy King.
We could have finished this
you
on
don't.
like session 3 or whatever, but we decided let's play a bit more from this game. It was fun.
We had the same problem in Transformers where it's like, by session 4 you guys could, fucking rush it and murder this guy.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, let's actually play the game. Let's enjoy this.
Yeah. His mistake was engaging me one-on-one.
Yeah,
Then I played my trap card.
It's always the mistake. It is always a bad idea to engage the players. That's why Overlords don't do it in fiction.
Yeah.
That's why they have people for that.
So yeah, that's one moment he managed to shine, and so on and so on.
Yeah, we wrecked the Overlord by that last session. We destroyed all his stats just by...
Yeah, showing up with
Yes.
his weakness, and then a new weakness, and then Boy King being the weakness with the Overlord as well, so that 3 stats down. That was quite interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyone else want to talk about their characters, how they enjoyed it, didn't like some things? Yes, Poover? Did you enjoy playing Poover?
I'm just gonna say, I mean, I liked some of the role-playing aspect. It was a quick, easy way to do that. But again, I made a character who wasn't super great at the talk. And
You were really good at digging, and you did a lot of that.
yeah,
Should have gone Urdorf.
yeah, when your best tool is a shovel.
Yeah.
Urdorf would have been insane with that weird digging power.
I
Because then you
mean,
could dig through time and shit.
I
That's the
think this-
thing. I think that's his example. It's digging through like air and time. So you could have dug yourself back 5 minutes before you were murdered. Oh, look at Tyler.
I dig to the scenes that appear behind the Overlord with a shovel.
Right? Look at Tyler. He looks so
Plus
fucking
also-
small, that bot.
Because that would just totally make time travel. Let's give the PCs time travel. That
Plus-
can't possibly.
Plus
accommodate-
also, you're a digging character on the water.
You
That's
can dig
something-
through water.
Yeah, no, but I mean, his
Yeah, I
character-
just sort of took it
Tunnels.
because it just sort of made sense for a badger. That's the only reason I took it.
Oh yeah.
So, how's Goblin King?
We're done with dwarf. I thought we were still talking about dwarf.
I mean, I don't have anything really to add. I could have taken the fighty power and made him more fighty, but like he's already one-dimensional. Kind of,
I felt that dwarf had like gaps in it. Like nothing. All of the characters should usually have something that really defines them. Like the heir's trick was being able to just have people do his bidding. Marilla had the weather control, and that was unstoppable. And like Orc not being able to be mind controlled as one option, and then automatically getting that weapon system made them just like a terrifying combat encounter.
I think the role that I chose, the explosives, whatever, was actually pretty weak.
I mean, what can you do with explosives? Like we're on the water.
Well,
Right?
I mean, it's just
you chuck them at armies or whatever.
I don't even think it's that. There were plenty of situations to use it. I just don't think they were very good. It basically amounted to damage a trait that you can use 2 times before you have to rest up.
Yeah, I could see that. It just felt from an outside perspective that the dwarf playbook wasn't giving you much to work with.
You had iron, you could tire them out.
Iron's pretty cool.
It's
I don't know. I didn't feel like your character was really one-dimensional.
No, I don't think they're one-dimensional either. I just thought the playbook
was
options
the
wasn't giving you.
Yeah.
that's a better. I didn't think there was any kind of like so a lot of the things have like the elf, for example, has an ability that's like, oh well, whenever you're in town, you can play your lute, and people automatically like you, even though you're an obnoxious,
Or can be
egotistical
invisible
jerk
and snipe
because
people.
You play such great music.
Like you took
dwarves-
Iron Blast, right?
Yeah, Iron Blast on there. And then, like, the dwarves, they got, like, their abilities tend to be a little more limited. Like, digging, again, it was helpful, but it wasn't, like... It's not like every situation you're going to resolve with digging. Where it's going to...
You resolved a lot of situations with taking.
Yeah.
Like Stoneborn, the one immediately under that is when you stand on solid ground, you cannot be knocked off your feet or moved unless you want to be. That's a power right there.
But we were in a nautical game.
And you can stop anything trying to get past you by keeping them busy with iron. Anything.
Oh.
That's huge.
When you're on solid ground, boats don't
Would
count
have
as
been
solid
really
ground.
funny against the Titan.
Yeah, the Titan or another boat.
Boats don't count as solid ground.
You can just dig it up.
So, Goblin King.
Or, yeah, alright. Yeah, so the orc was astounding. Like, I'm shocked at how well it played out. When I first played the game, I'm like, oh, the orc seems kind of boring, whatever. And then, you know, when I was shopping around for builds or for concepts or for things that I want to do, orc is a nightmare. It's like the most effective playbook in the game next to the heir and the squire.
Yeah, I think the critics describe it as like a little bit overlord-ish, that he's all about destroying things and what have you. So has those teams going on.
Yeah, the thematics of it are fantastic.
Yeah.
And the fact that it plays off of like the agendas are be a rebel, capitalism, or destroy beautiful things. It's like, oh man, there's a lot to unpack here.
Am I the bad guy?
Right? And
Well,
like, one of the options right off the bat just makes you immune to the overlord. Like, when someone attempts to enslave, control, intimidate, terrify, or command you, you always act as you please. The overlord can't use the moves Twist the Knife, Fear Me, or an offer you can't refuse on you, and your people are immune to the heir's core move, Yes, my liege.
A man acts, a slave obeys. Yes.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's
The
crazy.
angel has no memory.
An angel has no memory. Fucking Barbarella up in here. But the other options I could have taken are equally astounding. Like, Children of Fire. You never take damage from fire and heat, and you have the burning tag. Just you. You, as a character, always have the burning tag. That means you can always start fires, everything always does burning, and you're always in control of, like, fire stuff, basically.
Neat.
That's just an option you can take other than being immune to mind control.
Would have fucked me.
And Beastmaster was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Beastmaster, I think, is actually pretty weak. All in all, it sang because this game was literally nothing but water.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. If that was Transformers takes place in a post-apocalyptic landscape. The wild environments, like there are animals in Cybertron.
It's very setting dependent.
Yeah, and like it just happened to go super well in this because it was a wild fantasy setting.
Personally, I also think it would have been a little bit better if it had been paired with. I mean, it was very good. Don't get me wrong, but with a character who's kind of more designed to like a character who doesn't specialize in blood, because there you can already finish people and do that amazingly well.
Yeah.
Whereas the ability seems to be more designed to characters who are like druids, halflings, or
The squire.
the squire who can.
Like as an orc, I can
Well,
just.
we have companions, so you know.
Well, once you become different, it doesn't. Right, it doesn't matter. What I'm trying to say is, as an orc, I could burn my weapons, which always refreshed, in exchange to finish someone without advantage. So I don't need advantage to finish someone. As a lord of beasts, as long as I had advantage, I could automatically finish them, and animals would take them away forever. You see, I could do both at that point, and it was actually not super great.
Yeah.
It was really fucking with. Like, if I had gone Warlord, it would have been a different game.
It was more just annoying because I could no longer send Beast against you.
Yeah, get fucked.
Because it would
Absolutely
be
get
like, oh,
fucked.
I want to send some wolves or some sharks or something. It's like, no.
God, I loved that. I loved that the most.
Between your two playbooks, it was just like.
Yeah, on the other
have
hand, though,
a
like,
big bag of
if you were
notes.
just a charismatic person, he could have, like, any people that you sent against us.
I mean,
Yeah, like, if I had done the leader class, I could have done that to literally any person you sent, like Acer.
But at least that's a little more roleplay.
It is. I like that I had Command Lore over Beast because I use that for maximum roleplay. Immediately as soon as I got the ability to command lore about the world's natural world, I started to talk about how the world was getting goblin-y and creepy, and that had so much implications to what was going on.
I mean, I loved how like the tides turned the moment you realize, wait, I can't take this on 5th level that I am right now.
I've already taken it, and I didn't understand how taking advanced class worked, so I thought I needed to wait a level, but I was already 2 levels into it. Like, I'd screwed up how that works. It's like, oh no.
That twist was so great.
That was pretty good. I didn't understand the rules. I was already... No, I'm endlessly fascinated by the fact that one of the playbooks lets you just take away command lore from the Overlord and give it to you. That's crazy.
So,
I mean, a lot of them do that, I think. Okay. Time.
It's 11.
it's like below 15.
Alright, do we want to do Nicole and then just wrap?
Yeah, sure.
I don't really have much
if
more to
you need to
say.
go, then-
I also don't really have much to say.
Did you enjoy playing your Rain?
Yeah, it's really fucking powerful.
With the Guardian, yeah.
And then
Guardian played.
Yeah.
well, it was powerful in and of itself, and then with the Guardian, it's fucking unstoppable. I'm everywhere. Go fuck yourself.
Indeed.
It's a little bit ridiculous. I like that her and the Overlord knew each other from beforehand. That added more
And it came
roleplay
up.
stuff. It came
it
up
paid
a
off.
lot, and it's good because I didn't really have a whole lot like character-wise for this character. I was like, oh hey, the rain looks cool. Oh yeah.
Tyler,
I really don't have anything to say.
how did you enjoy playing the Overlord?
How does it feel now that you got to play it?
I mean, it was good. It was fun. I've already talked a bit about how I felt like the Titans were underpowered for what they were.
Plus, I think all the bookkeeping, I don't think would like keep me up. Like, okay, you should be knowing that the Overlord's doing this and that. We just like skip past some of
I
that.
did not keep up on my bookkeeping very well.
Yeah, it is a bit of bookkeeping. Even when I was doing Tarantulas, it was a bit.
And I feel like there's like a hard 12 session limit on how long you can run a fellowship game for. Because at that point, if people are leveling up, they just hit a degree of power
I mean,
to which it's just
that's how we play, because every session, every advancement, we picked, level up for the last
and
one.
I think that's a good strategy, and
It is.
it pays off. But it does mean that there is like a hard limit on what the Overlord can do to you, because eventually you reach a point where threats to the world don't matter anymore.
Maybe they should.
And once you hit that, it's like what can I do? Like I was really expecting that last big fight
On the beach.
to be much more challenging because you were facing 3 generals who were all threats to the world with an army,
Yeah.
and then at the last minute we kind of like that new book dropped and we got the new abilities, and all of a sudden it's like, oh well, the rain is everywhere, and the rain makes threats to the world not matter.
I mean, trust the world means you just have to pay a price, which means you will be
Which
a bit more
would have been
taxed.
huge.
3 prices anytime.
Like
yeah,
3 generals. Everything that you did to them, you would have had to have paid a price. Like it would have been
It would have targeted us out. I
a
guess.
way more difficult fight.
Much more
So.
resource intensive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, I kind of ran into the same issue, but I think it's our playstyle, because I've seen Fellowship games go wrong on this.
Yeah.
I think it's just how we play, and like you need to find a way to incentivize the other 2 advancement options.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the goal with us running this game, is just finding
I don't know, maybe.
I mean,
And
I
I-
kept asking if we could do other things because my character was resource capped for the majority of the game, and until you got resource capped, no one agreed to do it.
Yeah, well, now all we gotta do is
Yes.
give it so it hits multiple
If-
people, not just Nicole.
And I really tried to like grind down your resources.
Oh, you definitely did.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, also maybe, I don't know how many actions you're getting towards the end. I don't really totally cross the book there, but maybe just grabbing the pillars right away. I don't know if that would have.
It's like the question is like,
I mean, he got most of them.
how
There were
much?
8 and there were 2 left.
Yeah.
Yee.
He got most of them.
I mean, yeah, but overall, it's still like for outside of the game, he's designed to lose, and so on, so on. So it's like,
Also, Tyler was fucked because one of the players couldn't be cut by him.
yeah, you.
Like, I couldn't be affected by most of his tools for fucking you guys over.
Yeah.
So he really was facing down 4 players who could only ever touch 3 of them. And he couldn't get into melee with that one because that one permanently destroyed stats.
Also, I miss rolling dice.
Oh god, do I not miss that. I fucking hate rolling dice. It makes me angry that I have to roll dice.
I like rolling dice.
God almighty, do I hate it. It's my favorite part of being the Overlord. I don't want to fucking roll things. I just want to do shit. I don't want to have to think about characters and initiative and shit. I just want you to do something that I respond.
Right. But I guess we gotta wrap up here. So.
Yeah. Or if you want to just head out, Mark, you can just head out.
I mean, if you
Does
wanted to
anyone have
talk
anything else to say?
I kind of want to talk more about characters and stuff, if that's alright.
So maybe.
Well, I'll
Well,
just
well,
quickly, just quickly. Alright, we're back. Mark had to go because it's late, and buses.
Okay. So speaking of Overlord, since also we didn't engage that much with the plans, we didn't also engage with like saving communities versus the source of power. We're gonna be just focusing on one rather than the other, unfortunately.
Yeah,
I
we really have blinders on.
It's like also like with my character, I wanted him to be like, oh, more like we have to save the people, we have to protect them. We're like, that unfortunately didn't come up. Slash, we didn't have time for it because everything was in a time crunch. It seemed.
I also didn't really telegraph very well, like what the Overlord's plans were, which was kind of a failing on my part.
Yeah, it was something that just kind of like I think it got away from us.
Also, it was interesting. Like in the second session when we went on that big ship, it was like just like a sideline from the actual plot, and we spent so much resources on that place for like no good reason. In the end, we didn't get anything out of
What
it.
place?
The big ship, the ghost ship.
Oh fuck yeah, that was our biggest mistake there. We burned through shit.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I felt like it was like from a game perspective, it was a good experience.
Oh yeah,
No, it was a
it
good
was
session.
absolutely very good.
It was
But-
fun, and we did get a lot of use of it.
but-
Just not us in game, but like, it's like, hey, there's a fucking giant pool
Yeah.
house.
There's Sauron over there destroying the world, and we're stopping by, Tom Bombadil's place for some, things. So it's threw us like out of the loop a little bit, because like we spent so many resources so early on, so we had to recover more to give the Overlord more, time to do everything, I suppose. It was kind of interesting, but yeah, it's like if it was like say a source of power we could have seized to do something that would be at least worth it in the end, I guess. Or if this was like the horizon where we could just fuck around, do whatever, that would also be great. But it being like nothing of like note to our cause in the end, I guess that but what do you do? What else should we think about?
No, I think that's a fair point.
Like when you're playing against the overlord, you don't have time to be distracted because everything's so much on point and everything's like limited, I suppose.
I don't think it has to be though. I think if we change the gearing, like the intensity of how the game is run, we can get away with still spending resources, still needing to be conservative, but still being able to take time to enjoy the world.
Yes.
I
if you
just
choose not to level up every time,
Yeah.
then the Overlord doesn't advance his plans as quickly.
Yeah.
He does, yeah, you're right. Because that's where he gets the plan advancement. The Overlord advances plans from recovering and from leveling.
Yep.
Yeah.
And advances plans so that he can actually take those sources of power.
Yeah.
So, find a way to get players to pick the other two options, and then leverage that.
Yeah. We should be really hyper-focused on the leveling up, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, I came into it because
It's
I
more
wanted
fun.
to get through the Destiny playbook. I wanted to see
Yeah.
it play, but most of these characters don't need level ups. Like, the Orc doesn't really need a level up, because you get 2 moves to start with from the custom list, so you can build what you want. So I think it comes down to the players, because the players are the ones that choose the options, so they have to go, hey, we don't want to make this game go super fucking fast. We're not going to choose advancement options that are levels. We're not going to move the Overlord up as quick as we can, because in reality, we control how aggressive the Overlord is by constantly leveling him.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the more he levels, the more aggressive he's going to get. And you lose sources of power, and he gets closer to winning.
Yeah. But also, since like we made source of power really easy for us to find, that might have also thrown things off the loop because, as I understand, in the basic fellowship, source of power should be like rare and hidden and
I mean, there were
finding.
only 8 in the entire game. And they were pretty hard for us to get to.
I mean, yeah. Because like, I think the basic fellowship, like, if you want to find something, then either that's like, say, a fellowship move from, say, being a community, or you spend time doing stuff, which is a little bit down, which means overall gives to move stuff. But it's neither here nor there.
Yeah, we worked a little bit outside the framework.
Yeah, I was fine with the sources of power being known to everybody, because it's not like we even took advantage of that knowledge.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't even go to them until the very ending.
Yeah.
Because we were saving people and shit.
Though what it did do, defining them so concretely meant we could create new ones.
Yeah.
But whatever. I had an idea for a Final Fantasy game that was just like basically Final Fantasy 1/4, where it's like there are 4 crystals, like 4 elemental crystals, and there's 4 underground crystals, and there's 4 moon crystals, and like those are the sources of power you have to find.
Yeah.
I had this vague idea for it. I'd have to give it some actual tooling. Yeah, I think it's because we rushed leveling so hard.
Yeah.
And we did it in Fellowship too, in Transformers, because we didn't know any better.
But listen, I like that, what was it, session 2 or 3 when we stayed at that village that was supposed to be
I love that
trap.
set piece.
That was really great.
That was cute. Yeah.
Where they keep like making up
The
excuses
Adventure
to do
Town.
more. Yeah. No, I fucking love that set piece, and I was trying to find a way to work in Transformers. I couldn't get a fit.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, the set pieces make the game.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. That was a great one. And again, just like in Transformers, session 2 or 3 is where we really kind of clicked.
Yeah. Okay, anything else we'd like to talk about?
Goblin King? Like, Goblin King was a little high concept for me, because I was trying to continue that idea we had from Victim Epistle and our old games from back in our hometown, where we tried to say something with goblins. So, for reference, if you haven't listened to a Victim Epistle or any of the micro rants hidden among the other content, the idea for goblins comes from Kender. For people out of the loop, there's this D&D setting called Dragonlance, and Dragonlance has their own version of hobbits that are legally distinct called the Kender. Kender look like children. Kender do not feel fear. Kender are kleptomaniac thief people. Kender, and everyone lets Kender get away with it because they're so pure and innocent. So in Dragonlance, Kender will just rob you. Like you'll be staring at them and they'll just take stuff and hold on to it, and they don't realize they're doing it because it's in their nature. And everyone's just supposed to kind of tolerate it, when in reality the Kender would have been burned at the stake to the man. Like, especially in like a D&D fantasy subsistence society, like We're not super good to other humans for having stereotypes about being thieves. This is an entire ham-fisted race of actual thieves that actually steal. They actually are the stereotype. Like they're real. It's not just ugliness and racism. They're actually like that. So the thing is that Kender are obviously like an author favorite write-in. Whenever people want someone to be insufferable and cute, but everyone tolerates it, they make it a Kender. So we took that concept of something that's insufferable, that no one would deal with, that no one would want to deal with, and turned it into an actual like people and how that would be intelligent and cohesive. That's kind of where goblins come from. Goblins don't understand society. Goblins don't write history books. Goblins don't fear death. They don't understand ownership. They don't understand the self. They're always very outward-facing, and they're not one people. They're a bunch of different peoples that all have this trait. Like, if you take the idea that learning how to use fire and being like architects and like building societies is an actual developed trait that people pick up, goblins are the people that never do. They're like Neanderthals. They're just this kind of offshoot that still exists. And yeah, I don't know. I think they came across pretty well in this game, right?
Yeah.
I feel like I didn't get to use goblins normal enough, but it's not like there were a lot of times where I was not there and goblins were.
I think also we could have benefited from, like, you explaining what goblins were supposed to be beforehand, instead of, like, in the moment when we were meeting goblins.
Yeah, I wanted to write up a quick little thing about them. Like, I did do some short stuff, but nothing comprehensive. And it's hard to do comprehensive stuff because that's boring.
Yeah.
I don't want to write out a whole Google Doc about it. I just kind of want to talk about it and spitball ideas and get abstractions across and hope to get it as close as possible from there. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Also, like, Goblin King was quite domineering whenever he get into some argument or just, like, shout at people and what have you.
Goblin Kings are a thing. They're a biological thing that happen.
Yeah.
They're goblins that can plan ahead and do understand the course of history. And they're fairly miserable about it because their job is to be the boss.
So did you just say you were sad?
Oh god. That is my new favorite meme that's now in our games forever.
Well, can't do that.
Can't do what?
No.
Sad? Like, he's like, hey, are you sad? And then, like, point out a gun to shoot them. Fucking Lord Nicole. That was amazing.
Golden.
Fucking gold. Gold tarnished black. Yeah, that was kind of the big idea thesis. Make something like Kender and make them a little more realistic, and make them sympathetic, but not in a way that you'd ever want to be around them. Goblins are a nightmare. I like the Overlord.
Yeah.
The Overlord was relatable. Like, I know I said this exactly in these words in the game as Goblin King, but he was relatable and sympathetic, and therefore you didn't want to destroy him. And you wanted to show him some sort of restitution or redemption.
It wasn't interesting that, the overall the dragon was so similar to also the builders, the heirs, whatever, that, they all think the same because, hey, they're sort of related, so they're following the same thought patterns and what have you.
My headcanon for this world is that everyone used to be like goblins, and the dragons are the ones that like raise some of them up into builders.
Yeah, that fits.
Or wall builders. Like, not because builders are Peter's, the heirs people. Goblins use the slang wall builder to mean people who build walls, both socially, economically, and physically. So all of those, enlightened races, like elves and the Brock folk and the builders and whatever else we didn't encounter that have societies and build statues, my headcanon is the dragons did that, and it bit them in the ass. They taught them colonialism. Which explains why you have all these kind of weird offshoots that don't quite fit in. They never were part of that. Anything else?
I think
I'm pretty good.
Alright, well, it's 11:30, so yeah,
All right.
let's wrap it.
I was Tyler.
And Peter.
Mark was here, and I was Devin,
Nicole.
and this is sponsored by Nobody. Signing off.
Thank you.